As a warm-up, who of you know what a cooperative bank is? Please raise your hand. Okay, and who has an account in a cooperative bank? Okay, I invite you to make one.
Maybe after this talk.
Yeah. Basically, we'll talk about how we'll briefly introduce you to why we decided to flip to LeSS, and we will focus on what happened after the flip. Okay, so our agenda is, firstly, as I mentioned, we'll briefly talk about the context. Then we'll talk about how we designed the flip, how it was carried out. And then we will share you the insights that we gathered at the first checkpoint, 3 months after the change. Then a second checkpoint after half of a year. And the current situation, which is 9 months after the change. So, as it was mentioned, we do software for Polish cooperative banks. And we do everything that the bank needs to operate in Poland. So if you want to start a bank, then come to us. We'll give you everything you need. And who uses our context. We do banking, so our environment is highly regulated. I need to underline that the Polish Banking Authority, KNF, is the strictest in Europe. So we have a lot of rules that we have to follow. And we want to do agile software development. Why? Because our competitors are very big multinational corporations. So we need to do things the smart way in order to win in the market, because we don't have a lot of money that we can just throw at problems. And who uses our product? We do stuff for the client's client, so for the bank's client, the end user, as you probably everyone has a banking app on his phone, so we do that. But we also do stuff for the bank employees. And I'm Adam, this is Oskar. Okay, so why we needed the flip? Basically, our company decided for the last 10 years that it is okay to just be, and we didn't really adapt to any changes, and the world changed a lot. So we gathered some organizational depth. We also gathered technical depth, but we still had a pretty strong market position. So we have potential to do more than we actually do right now, but we needed to make a real deep change. We didn't want to influence only the events that occur in our company on maybe the pattern of activities, but we need to change how we think about delivering software, how our company, how each of our employees think about delivering our product to the client. So we needed a very deep change.
Okay, so let's talk about how did we design the flip. As Adam said, we have to focus on changing the underlying structures. So as a starting point, we decided to establish a small experiment based on the creating one cross-functional team that can work on the whole system in our company. And in order to do that, we gathered the volunteers, so especially targeting the innovators and the early adopters. And we organized the self-designing workshops where the participants have to introduce themselves and explain why they want to be the part of this team. And as a result, in the 6 months, we built a very good team of highly motivated people, which are bringing the great results and build the trust in the company that this way of work can work in our environment. So at this point, we got the proof that it can work here. And this led us to going big. So we decided to do a real radical change, a real kaikaku. So we wanted to organize several cross-functional teams working in large LA Scrum. And why LeSS? Because we assumed that it's ready-to-go framework in order to grow our product efficiently and in a sustainable manner. So we've got also the few assumptions. The first one, we want to eliminate the silos by creating the product teams. So at this point in our company, we've got several departments working on their exclusive parts of the system, and it generates a lot of problem. The second thing was that we want to create focus by using the single product backlog, because we identified that from the perspective of our clients, you are buying all or nothing, with some little exceptions, but that's basically that. And the third thing is that we want to increase the stability of our organization by investing heavily in learning, because in the few areas we are relying on work and knowledge of the single expert. So we want to basically to increase the buzz factor in that areas. And this time we were targeting the early majority of the company, so about the 50%. And we did that by explaining the change and sending the invitation to the whole company for the self-designing team workshops.
Okay, so how the flip looked like. So basically, we organized self-designing teams workshop in January, and we had several assumptions about this change. So the first assumption was that it is voluntary. So basically, you could have decided that you want to work in new way, or you can stay where you are and continue your job as it is back then. So we provided that job safety. We basically told people that no one will be fired, no matter where they are in the company for the next 6 months. We also invited an external facilitator, the guy in the corner.
You know him probably.
You probably know him, to help us with the workshops, because obviously we were biased, because that was our idea. So we wanted someone who don't have that bias, and can work with people maybe more easily than we. And we also set some design rules for the teams. We had 4 design rules. So the first one was that a team should be able to provide support for our users, because in our company, support is a very big topic, because our clients obviously can open a ticket in our system, but they also used to call us using, phones, because we do software for 35 years. So we have very close relationships with our clients. So they are used to this way of working, so we needed to keep that up. So that was the first design rule. The second design rule was something that really addressed the problem that Oskar mentioned before. So we wanted a team to be cross-functional as the experimental team before. So we wanted them to be able to develop software in any part of our system. We understood that they maybe or they will have to learn a lot to do that, but that was the assumption. We also wanted teams to be between 4 to 8 people, and because we have a very strong support department, we also needed to underline that we want the teams to be able to actually develop software. So we included the rule that the team should have a software developer. It can be funny, I know, but in our context, that was really important.
At least 2.
Yeah. Okay, and maybe you can learn from our mistakes, because we broke the rule about the number of people in the teams, and it was a red flag. It is a red flag. You shouldn't do that, because we are still struggling with that. Because in our company, people have very strong relationships with each other, and also when they heard that they will need to develop software in any part of the system, they thought, okay, more people, it will be easier. And we weren't brave enough to tell them that is a bad idea. So we agreed to that, and you shouldn't do that. Okay, so we ended up with about 60% of the company engaged, and we were able to form 8 product teams.
Yep. So let's check how we did after the 3 months. Let's start with the goals. So to be honest with you, basically in this first period we focused on survival. So we basically want to survive the transition and not be much worse than before, because we knew that we have to invest heavily in learning. Why? Because as from a perspective of a developer from that new product team, you have to learn the new way of working, you have to learn the new roles and responsibilities, you explore the new parts of the system, and also you have to learn how to work with your new teammates, and it could be very hard sometimes. But what's maybe more important when you involve such a lot of people in that change, and they've got their perspective, their expectations, to say what is not a goal of the first period. And our not a goals was that we didn't want to increase the efficiency. We didn't want to make the work much more comfortable, because we knew that it probably will be harder than before. We also ignored the cognitive load, which were very high at that moment, and we assumed that we won't be able to deliver any major product improvements. Let's talk about the discoveries, because after these 3 months, we discovered that we've got a huge problem with decision-making process and taking the responsibility. Because when you flatten the structure, there is very unclear who should make the decision. The other thing was that we discovered that the learning process is very chaotic, and it's probably too slow in order to bring the efficient results for our clients. And the last thing is that the organizational structure change wasn't enough. So we also have to change the structure of our system. We also have to modernize our toolkit, and we also have to modernize our infrastructure on which our system is running on. And at this point, we also gathered the feedback from the teams, and it brings us the few points. So at first, the teams seen that the transparency goes up. So now they can see what's the work is going on across the company, and also they see that they learn a lot in the few areas, and it's much easier to communicate with each other. So we probably completed the first assumption that we want to eliminate the silos. But from the other side, they reported that we've got the very high cognitive load, and that's okay at this point, but we also got a lot of chaos. And that's why, because we are probably at the start of our journey from the wasteland to efficient ocean, so we knew that we are wasting a lot of potential of the teams, that we are wasting a lot of potential of the people, but it's a journey in order to higher our flow efficiency.
Yeah, I will. Can you go back?
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, before the change, we were probably somewhere in the efficient island state, because we had some maybe departments, maybe group of people that were very efficient in our company. But because they were only locally efficient, that was suboptimal. So we deliberately decided that we will destroy their efficiency, because we wanted to focus on the flow efficiency. So we wanted to make any resource that is needed available to firstly work on the flow efficiency. So we ended up in wasteland, as it is pictured here.
Yep. So we basically destroyed the structures that were before. Yep. And what's important, we've got 4 actions after this period. The first one is that we organized the decision delegation workshop in order to empower the teams and the individuals to make the decision and take the ownership. The second one, that we have to invest in engineering practices. So basically we hire the consultants and work on the test-driven development and the mob programming stuff. The third one was that we established a developer experience community in order to gather the volunteers that work on improving the processes, tools, and environment related to software development. And the third, we established a cooperation with the external company in order to bring few fresh people to our company. And we focus on the next 3 months.
Yeah, so we did basically the same checkpoint after 6 months because we wanted it to be comparable. So maybe some metrics first. So we discovered that it takes us about 2 sprints to do 1 PBI, I mean product backlog item, as it is understood by LeSS. And we have like 30% chance that we will finish PBI in 1 sprint. So we saw that something is clearly wrong and we should probably do some more adaptation. Okay, so we basically send out the same survey that we sent before, and employees told us that they feel that they are doing important work. So that was a pretty good indicator because of that our morale got a little bit better because when you do such radical change, the morale goes down into the floor. And we managed to create a common and much broader definition of done than before. Because when we had departments, so a department of electronic banking programmers, a department of reporting programmers, that's a very funny name, a DevOps department. DevOps is basically about not having DevOps department, but we had one. We also had like a business analyst department and so on and so on. So each of these departments could have done a fantastic job, but because they had a very strict barriers between them, a work item that actually delivers value to the client had to go around the company from these departments. It was handed off multiple times. It waited in queues, so we couldn't deliver anything meaningful to the client. So we managed to remove those silos and create a definition of done that allowed us to actually take something of value, design it, implement it, test it, deploy it, and see how it, and also observe it after the deployment. So we gained the ability to see how our software reacts in the real world. And we also managed to create a feeling, our developers for the first time felt that if they do their job poorly, they develop a crappy code. That code affects a lot of people because it affected our clients. It also affected our support department and many other people, even the management, if the mistake was pretty bad. So they gained a need to up their game, to introduce better engineering practices in order to make our software better. And we are starting to gaining some flow because we are able to introduce a very needed changes into our infrastructure. And by infrastructure, I mean, the virtual machines, the networks, the automation tools, and so on, that a team, one of the product teams, was able to actually write code, test it, and deploy it to the prod for the first time in the history of our company. At least that I am aware of. So we are gaining some flow efficiency, but we are still maybe wasting the potential of the separate teams or assets in our company, but that's okay. A time for that will come. And also, people raised some issues because who actually does the work in our company? Software developers. So it's probably wise to ask them what impediments they see and what we can do to help them. So they indicated to us that because we removed the entire management structure that was present in the company before and introduced a new one, we had some management conflicts because the the responsibilities of the roles were not clearly defined. So people sometimes stepped on others' feet and things like that. And in order to address that issue, we introduced a concept called Obeya. We had a chance to participate in workshops yesterday that was basically about Obeya. So Obeya is a Japanese concept. It basically is a big room. In our context, is a Miro board with everything that is needed for people to actually know what is going on in the company and what actions will be taken next to improve some capabilities. Basically, we have a list of capabilities that we want to achieve. For example, we want to be able to deliver software smoothly and efficiently, and we have metrics for that capability, and we have planned actions to improve those metrics. And we iterate over and over this stuff. We have several routines, a weekly meeting, and daily we work on those capabilities in order to improve them. And also, each capability has a person assigned to it who is responsible for maintaining or creating that capability. Okay? We also thought that it's time to do something with the cognitive load, because we actually had a half of a year of pretty good time that we weren't pressed by the clients to deliver features. So we have time to actually invest in learning, but some external pressure appeared, and we thought that, okay, we had our time to learn. Now we need to increase the resource efficiency. So in order to maybe make the domain that people need to know in order to develop features smaller, we basically took the concept of leading teams from LeSS. You can read more about it on the LeSS website, and implement it in the company. And as a result, we are able to determine what we are going to do for the remainder of the year, so for the 6 months. It was 3 or 4 topics. Doesn't matter. 3. Yeah, so we assigned, for each topic, we assigned a team that was responsible for helping the PO manage that area. They were responsible for organizing and improving refinements, and basically they had to focus on that. They also taught other teams that took a PBI in that area on how to implement stuff and so on. And as it was later discovered, that concept was very good, and people are very happy with it right now.
Yep, it brings a lot of focus into the teams. So,
okay, so the next thing was chaos. Chaos in terms of product development, because back then, when we had department for everything, each of the departments, even every other person had its own backlog. So, a single person knew what they are going to do today or maybe in a week. But as a company, we weren't going anywhere. We were just floating on waters. And we are trying to fix that by using a very popular concept of one backlog. In our reality, it's probably the 5th iteration of one backlog, because it's really hard to do it correctly. And of course, this iteration of the backlog is not working because the tool is wrong. So we did it in many different tools. Right now, we have it in Excel, and it's okay-ish. But we still need to work on that. Right now, we are able to tell you or tell our customers what we'll do in the next 3 months, maybe up to a year. So, and with a pretty good confidence. So that's not that bad. And actually, the last problem, our code is old. So most of our software, several million lines of code, is written in Clipper. Who knows Clipper? Please raise your hand. Okay, 1 person? 2, perfect. Okay, so yeah, you cannot hire a Clipper developer. And actually, the language itself is not really the problem. The quality of code written in Clipper is the problem. And some historical, technical constraints, because a good bit of our code base has 6-letter variables. Why? Because a long time ago, Clipper compiler only supported 6 letters in the variable name. So we have a lot of stuff that's called, for example, KKCMG, and good luck understanding what that is after 20 years or so. So we basically need to do something about this, and we decided that it is not wise to try to invent our own way of improving our software, because what we really do well is we develop banking software as it is now required by regulators or by our client needs, but we don't know how to improve old stuff. And we managed to find a pretty good company that did basically the same thing we need to do several times in different banks. So no point in learning how to improve your stack when you can just buy the knowledge.
And let's check what's next, because currently we are 9 months after the flip. And as Adam said, we are mainly focused on delivering currently 2 most important topics to our clients. So there is also a lot of external pressure. But I think it's good because it led you to make some decisions faster. It led you to make the faster adjustments. But in the case of the software development, sometimes it's hard because it led you to short-term decision, and you have to deal with it after. But maybe what's more interesting, what's our next goals? So our next goals are that we want to adjust the product teams. So basically solve the red flag Adam was mentioning after the self-designing teams by solving the problem of oversized teams. The next thing is that we have to fix our support issues. So basically invert the trend of rising defects reported by the clients in our backlog. And it's related to triggering the continuous modernization of our system by establishing the clear direction of our architecture. So we basically want to focus on the modernization of our architecture. And the last but not least, we have to gain the ability to hire and retain the employees which are supporting our strategy and supporting our culture. So I think that's all for now.
So basically, what are the key takeaways of our example? The first takeaway is that LeSS does not solve any of your problems. It just makes them visible, but you have to solve your problems. That's the first one. The second one, there's a Japanese rule called shuhari, and it basically tells you that if you are new to a concept, then you probably should follow all the rules, because there may be some mechanic that you not yet understand that makes the concept work, but if you skip something, it will break apart. And in our case, that's the limit of members in a team. So I think that's a good thing to remember. And the third takeaway is, I forgot what.
Okay.
It was not important.
So far, we proved that this way of working can work in our environment, but the next chapter is about proving that it can take a feather. So if you want to check it out, our story, you have to invite us to the next conference.
Thanks. Let's keep guys here for a couple more moments. Maybe Adam will remember what he was going to tell. And I've got a couple tricky questions for you. So let's check if you can answer them. Do you have any estimation how much money you invested in learning and transition? Total cost of time, of people, of external facilitators, anything that you can guess?
I have it, but I am not free to share it. I cannot say.
Okay.
I guess millions.
And
Okay.
I don't guess. I know millions, but that's the
and
best number I can give you.
you've got also the areas that are very hard to estimate, because what if you didn't do that? You know.
Next question that we have: why do you select it LeSS?
Okay, why we did that? So tak, first thing, we knew it, and we did a LeSS transformation before, so we had some experience, and also we did an extensive Google search, and we talked with a lot of people. So we listed a list of things that we can do, and LeSS made the most sense. I also went to Craig Larman workshops, and he convinced me.
And you have to mention that we are trying LeSS in some case for some department in our company. So we basically some part of our employees got the experience with that framework.
Yeah, that's actually very important. Thank you, Oskar, for mentioning that, because electronic banking department in our company started doing LeSS in, of course, constrained by the back then rules of the company, hierarchy, and so on. But they had a pretty good experience with it, so we enabled them to do more LeSS.
Do more LeSS. Okay. Another quite interesting question. Does this change has an end somewhere? Are you going to achieve something and tell this is completed, or check the next?
That's a good question.
I would say that the end result that we want to achieve is to make for everyone clear that the only thing that is not going to change is change. So you basically want to have an organization that adapts constantly.
Yes.
So we want to do another transformation or something like that in future.
Yep.
Okay.
From my perspective, it probably haven't got the end point, but it probably have some points that can show us that it goes wrong. So maybe another radical change or another transformation in the next few years show us that this one goes wrong, because we shouldn't do it another one.
Okay, thanks. And the last two questions about the numbers. How big was the team when you've been starting?
What team?
Well,
How
I
big?
think
Okay, so in our company we have about 140 people, and about 50 of them are developers.
Yep.
And we have a lot of support engineers, business analysts, and so on.
so. It was 150 people, the development group, and the supporting group.
No, the entire company has 150 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this answered the question. And the last question about the numbers is, how long does it take to develop the chunk of the work that meets your current DOD? So to push through your PBI.
So basically, we now need about 2 sprints to deliver the real value to our customers on a production environment. But in about 40%, we can end our backlog item in 1 sprint. So we are moving forward to meet the 2 weeks, because our sprints got 2 weeks. So that's the current situation.
So you move from this 30% to around 40% right now.
Yep. So basically, if you are doing some product backlog item, it took us about 2 sprints to end it. But in some cases, so about 30%, we are moving towards the 1 sprint.
Yeah, so our sprint is 2 weeks. We started, the experimental team started with 1 week sprints. Okay, I remember now. The third takeaway is to make the feedback loop as short as it is humanly possible. And 1 week sprints do really great job at this, but they are very, very tiring for team members. So we couldn't sustain 1 week sprints That's why we switched to 2 week sprints.
In that experiment with one team, one cross-functional team, we started with the sprints with the 1 week, and it's worked perfectly. But after, I don't know, 9th sprint, the people are so tired, so we have to go for the classic one, and we took the 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.